just savoring this moment, and I think a couple of things come to mind. Beautiful, thanks so much, James and Robert and everyone up here. You know, the underlying idea, I think, for me, is the idea of grassroots activism. That this is really a grassroots movement, and to resist the temptation to try to become marketing specialists, to try to put veganism in a package that we market and do studies to try to market this as something that we're trying to sell to the public, but to rather see it as an absolutely transformational wave that is going to sweep through our society, starting from our hearts. It's a heart movement. It's a movement of the heart. I mean, it's very rational. I mean, it's totally logical. But if people were rational and logical, they'd all be vegan, right? So, you know, obviously, there's something deeper going on, and that's to make an effort to understand the programming in our society. We've all been born into a culture where we've been forced to participate in these mealtime rituals that shut down our natural empathy and sensitivity and intelligence. And so now we're on the path of regaining that. And as we do that ourselves, then we're in a position to help others to do that. But they're still wounded, and if someone is wounded, it doesn't do any help to criticize and blame and shame them and kick them a few times when they're already down. The idea is to try to love and support them in making the same transition that we've been able to make and that we're making as vegans. So I think it's really the grassroots groups that are doing it. That's why I love when we travel around the United States, primarily in North America, but also in other countries. We're always working with local grassroots groups and working to empower them and to bring more members and to help them to reach out to more people at the grassroots level, because it's when we meet together like this, face to face. And it's so great to see the VegFest movement itself growing. I mean, one of the things that when we meet with local activists in a city and they say, what can we do to help bring the vegan message to our community? I say, have a VegFest. You know, like what London is doing, what you guys have been doing here is something that just really helps as a pattern to bring the message. And as James and Robert have said, and everyone, the idea that it's us as individuals, it's our inner resources that we have that are often overlooked. So I recommend personally making a real effort not only to understand the consequences of animal agriculture and all of the underlying reasons to go vegan, but to also take time every day to cultivate a feeling of gratitude first thing in the morning and just feed that through the day, that I have another day in this precious life, and I don't know how long I'll live on this earth. None of us knows how long we'll be here, but however long it is, it's not very long. Our life is precious. It's a flower that only lasts a little while, and so why should we waste our time trying to accumulate things or trying to fight with people? Why not realize that we've come to a wounded society, a wounded earth that's destroying things here, people that are locked into an obsolete way of living, and shed light on the situation. And the light of love and kindness and awareness. This really starts with ourselves, so to make an effort to quiet the mind and connect with the light that is our true nature. I think perhaps Fiona, you know, I think at least I can feel into that. You know, running 37 miles in the Sahara or whatever, you know, at a certain point the mind shuts off. You can't believe it, you know, and then something else takes over. And what that is our true nature. And we can all connect with that. The power beyond the conditioned mind. This conditioned mind has been programmed and, as I say, colonized by a toxic program, that we can free ourselves when we realize that we're far greater than that. And when this movement connects with that energy, when we see ourselves not just as trying to do what other movements have done, when we realize that we're going to the very root of all the violence and oppression and injustice in this society, which starts with hurting and abusing animals, and everything comes out of this food and domination of animals on a massive scale by the millions. When we get to the root of that and change our behavior, we are planting a seed at the core. You know, it's like if you have this massive rock and you put a crack in that rock and you put some water down in there, and at a certain point it freezes and it'll break that whole rock. And that's what we're doing. We're going right to the core. But that's what veganism does. It goes to the very core of this problem. We're not concerned with the other branches. We're concerned with the roots. And when we bring our life into alignment with our values for ethical reasons, out of justice for other living beings, and we live from there, we're making a statement. You know, I was born and raised in Concord, Massachusetts, where I learned to swim in Walden Pond, and Henry Thoreau said, one person, you know, I myself, can stop the whole machine. You know, one person who understands this deeply and lives in integrity with this awareness, the power we have is infinite, literally infinite. We have enormous power to transform our society, and it is absolutely inevitable. It will happen. It is happening. We see this as we travel. We see incredible things in China. You know, massive vegan movements happening in so many places, in Africa, many places, and it's all below the radar, but it's beautiful. And through the internet, and we were able to do Vegan Palooza, for example. It was the largest vegan summit I think ever on the internet, and just to see, you know, when we just try different things, they can have a huge impact. So I think it really starts with us, though, and having a positive approach that mobilizes the love so that we're attracting like-minded people and building this brick by brick, and it's about love, because the only way we can harm animals is to exclude them. And if we exclude others, we're doing the same thing. So the idea is to be radically inclusive. Veganism is radical inclusion, including all beings in the sphere of our kindness and compassion. And that means everyone, and then dealing directly. So I think that's the real work to do.